Home. Chapter 55. A Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction written and narrated by Mira Rose. Video edited by T.S. If you have not yet enjoyed the previous 54 chapters of this story, you can find a link to them in the description box below. And as long as we're here, don't forget to leave a like and a comment to support the YouTube algorithm. If you don't know what to comment, put Plague's Hunger. Now then, please enjoy Home, Chapter 55. Marinette Dupang Chang. Marinette felt her irritation building with each word, watching as Cat zoned out in real time. Did he not realize how important this was? Thankfully, they got their food before her feelings could come to a head, and both Kalki and Tiki were happy to indulge. "Are you going to take that mask off now?" she asked. "Huh?" "For Plague. He should eat with us." Cat shifted in his seat. "I'll feed him later. It's fine." She narrowed her eyes. Marinette had yet to see him as Adrian. What was he hiding? Was he embarrassed? Sure, it was probably better for her mentally to not see him like that, but his avoidance of detransforming in front of her was irritating at best, but definitely touched the infuriating stage. "What are you scared of, Adrian?" She knew her words were a knife, and she meant them. Let's get this out of the way right here, right now. He'd had years to improve himself. If he needed to keep hiding behind the mask, that's fine, but he needed to be upfront about it. Cat watched the steam rise from his noodles before answering. "I don't like it." "Huh?" "I don't like being Adrian." "You don't like..." Something told her not to press it. "Okay. I won't ask you again then." "Thanks." They filled the silence with the sound of eating noodles, too tense to do anything else. They were delicious, but Marinette couldn't appreciate them. She'd messed up. Well, she hadn't, but it felt like she had. More questions flooded her as the noodles disappeared. What happened to his father? How had his mother recovered? Why did he take her last name? Where was Gabriel now? Why did he keep the butterfly miraculous with him even when traveling? Why did only the butterfly get stolen and not the Cat Noir ring? Was he Cat or Adrian when he woke up? "What's on your mind?" Cat asked, his voice soft among the clattering of utensils. Marinette hesitated. "I didn't know Kali could get us so close." The Kwami had already explained how she could get them to the area of a desire, but not pinpointed, which means the miraculous was, at this time, somewhere in Sapporo. Ugh. Why couldn't it be some tiny farming town? That would certainly make it easier. "Where do you suggest we start?" Cat asked. "I can feel Nuru," Tiki piped up. "You can?" Marinette didn't know if this was good news. So, someone's using the miraculous. "It's faint, but yes." Tiki raised her hands to hide a soft burp. "I'd say somewhere in the city." "Well, the good news is that we've narrowed it down from country to city," Cat said, cleaning up his area and stacking his bowl on hers. "The bad news," Marinette began, already checking her phone, "is there's about 2 million people here." "Metropolitan or proper?" "Proper." "Yikes." She looked up at him. "Got any yen?" "I wouldn't have ordered for us if I didn't bring my wallet." Cat sighed. "Good. It looks like we're near a station." "Is there somewhere you're trying to go?" "I'm going to have these two." She pointed to Tiki and Kali. "Ride with us and hopefully narrow down what area of the city Nuru's in." "Smart. He nodded, arms crossed and staring at the table. She didn't have the heart to tell him it would be more effective if Plag joined in. "Let's go." An old habit overtook her as he stood up and lingered in front of her chair, waiting for her to stand up, but she'd caught it just in time. She'd almost grabbed his hand. No! Old habits die hard. Besides, she'd already been far too generous when he led her out of that Obasan's house and across the rooftops, and when they were walking on the street. Had he even noticed? She could feel her cheeks burn as she wondered, but it didn't matter. It wasn't because they used to date. It was because they were partners, both then and now. Sure, they were estranged, but Cat Noir, no matter what he did, would always be her partner. Always. The stares were hard to ignore, but she learned that turning her head a bit as she walked would make them all look away. It was stranger being a mixed race here than it was in France. She snuck a glance at Cat, who seemed unbothered. How could he get used to something like this? Then again, he was used to getting attention on the streets in Paris, but even so. A realization struck her, stopping her in her tracks. Was that a factor in him not returning and traveling instead? That he could blend in like a normal person, depending on the country? And even if he stood out, it would be because of his features, not because he was Adrian or Gabriel Grest's son. Her thoughts irritated her, and she balled up her fists. It was frustrating, but even these subtle gazes bugged her. She couldn't blame him for wanting to avoid even more obvious or scandalous ones. Had her anger towards him been unjust all these years? Frustrated with herself, with him, and with society, Marinette shook her head to reboot her thoughts. She needed to focus on the task at hand. They had to find Nuru. They had to, and then everything could go back to normal, whether that meant Cat stayed in her life or not. But what was the ideal turnout? Cat in her life or not? She didn't know anymore. Marinette didn't know what she wanted. This person, who had been her home, was now a stranger she could recognize anywhere. What do you do with that? Where do you go from there? What do you do when you're ripped apart from your home, only for it to go up for sale in front of your eyes? Thank you so much for listening. Chapter 56 is on the way. In the meantime, you can check out other Miraculous Ladybug content on this channel, and don't forget to subscribe. If you're still listening, comment Marinette's home in the comments section. I will catch you in the next one. Bye!